BBC Radio Berkshire, Mighty Martha and the Vandellas and Dancing in the Street. Now, isn't it interesting that so many of us sit in front of a computer at work for hours every day, mainly writing emails, letters, summaries, reports and so on, and yet no one has ever trained us how to do it. We're trained to sell, to present, to manage, but not to write. Someone who'd like to show us how joins me now. He's Andrew Ingram and his company is Better Business Writing. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Bill.
There's a speech bubble on your website which says, because keyboards can be dangerous. Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
Well, if you work for a bank that's got 2,000 people and they've all got a keyboard in front of them and they're using it all day, there is a chance they're going to say the wrong thing in their email to the wrong person if they haven't been shown how to write effectively. Give you an example of that.
Do.
Say the bank writes you an email, dear Bill, your account is overdrawn, whatever. If it's way too long, the problem is you just won't read it. You'll look at it and think, I can't be bothered to read this. What do they want? What's going on? Just tell me what you want. Because one of the dangers of business writing is that people, they make things far too long and complicated. When, if you know a few tricks about planning it, you can make it shorter.
So is this a new problem then? Because, of course, before modern technology, there was still a lot of writing going on, albeit that it was bosses dictating to secretaries and so forth, and, people phoning each other up and having face-to-face conversations. Or is there something particular about the way we communicate today that makes us need you?
I suppose we've always had the problem, haven't we? For as long as people have been writing to other people, there's been the danger that, yes, it won't get read or it'll make the wrong impression or it won't be clear or something. But the fact that, as you said in your intro, there's lots of people in lots of offices. In fact, Berkshire's full of them. Yeah. Offices where people are sitting tapping away all day. And
much more than they used to.
Yeah, indeed, just the sheer volume of it.
Yes.
There's supposed to be sort of 3 billion words a day coming out of machines, which is, fairly scary.
Aren't we all equipped, though, already to basically write emails okay and reports because of what we learnt at school?
Yes, that's true. And actually, in your personal life, that'll get you through fine. If you've got to send an email to me, you'll understand me, I'll understand you. That'll be fine. But actually, when it gets a bit more complicated as in business, where you have to be just a little bit more formal and more careful about what you're doing. Like, an insurance company has to write to a customer who's got a claim. They can't just bash it out saying, "Hi, Barry, we're sorting your claim. Love from Yvonne."
That would actually be incredibly refreshing, I think I'd like to get one of those.
Yes, or, "Dear Barry, we've messed up your claim."
Oh, even better, yes. Mea culpa, yeah.
Yes, it's about formality, really. Business writing has to be a little bit formal. There's a good story, actually, about formality in business writing, because if you say you did decide to do much more informal business writing, you could just say, "Hi, I'm on the case for you," or whatever, "we'll get on to it, see you later." At that point, if you look at it and think, "Oh, that's a bit informal," you can't then make it formal again by saying, with best regards.
Yes.
But if you're too formal and you think, "Oh, that sounds a bit too formal," you can make it informal at the end by saying, "I'm sorry that's all sounding a bit formal, but you'll understand why we're having to take this
very
seriously."
Good, yes.
So always err on the side of formality.
So the problems people face then are being concise, being wrong in tone. What about really basic things like grammar and spelling? I mean, are there thousands of people who are wincing every time they hit those keys in case they make a terrible blunder in that way?
That's true. Some people are sort of terribly worried about making the error. Although actually there are many, many more who actually don't really know what the errors are. They're just trying to make themselves understood, so they're bashing it out. And actually they find that they've got a client at the other end who's saying, "You can't split the infinitive. Who are you, young lady?" But it turns out the split infinitive rule is a myth. It was invented
thank you. Now I had a look at your test this morning, and that's the first thing that comes up, isn't it? And I thought, he wants me to say there's a split infinitive here, but my answer to that would be, I don't care, because sometimes that is the most powerful way of expressing that verb.
Exactly right. No, there was a bishop in the 18th century called Bishop Louth who wrote a grammar book, and there weren't many grammar books at the time, and it became enormously popular. And he was the man who basically invented the rule about split infinitives.
Yeah,
and,
it's rubbish.
It's nonsense.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it was beaten into a whole generation of schoolboys who are still running companies.
On the other hand, if I get an email from somebody and they don't know the difference between there, and there, or it's and it's, I'm a bit concerned about them. Maybe I shouldn't be. They might be brilliant in other ways, but it puts me off.
It does put you off, which is why what we always say in the training is one of those little details. It's about the impression you make. It's not will they understand it. It's what will happen in their heads when they look at it, when they read it.
Yes. So how do you transform people's writing in all these different ways then? And how long a job is it?
It takes forever. I mean, the work is...
Okay, well, thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
I got an email from a client the other day forwarding me an email from someone who had been in one of my workshops and clearly hadn't solved the problem for me. Which was got my comeuppance. No, the truth is you can't just it's like a lot of these training courses. You go and do the 2 or 3 hour workshop in the morning, you come away going, oh, that was really good, and I learned this and I learned that. And then 2 or 3 days later you can't quite remember what it was and you're sort of falling back into your old habits. So we do a series of follow-up exercises. They're like little tests, games, quizzes.
Right.
So you can test your spelling, test your punctuation, test your grammar. And they're quite sort of light-hearted. And if you do it, I don't know, once or twice a month, by the end of it you think, oh yeah, I remember that one. I know how the it's rule. Do you know the it's rule, Bill? When's it?
Do I know? I should hope I do know the it's rule. I'm a terrible grammar pedant.
There you are.
IT possess is a contraction of it is. Anything else does not have an apostrophe.
It's true, but what I've learned from teaching this is that as soon as you start using words like contraction or possession or preposition, or people sort of freeze up.
Yes, true.
So actually the useful it's rule is the only time that it's has got an apostrophe in the middle is when it's short for something. That's it.
Perfect.
That's all you need to know.
Why can't people understand that?
There you are.
Yeah.
So
why are you the man for this job, Andrew? What is your background?
Well, I used to work in advertising and market research, and there's lots of other things that aren't connected to writing. I used to work in radio, actually marketing commercial radio.
Right.
But I was the guy in the office. Well, I studied language at A-level in university, and I was the guy in the office where someone would come to me and they'd say, look, I've done this report. Can you sort of just make sure it sounds right, tidy it up a bit, make it read well, da-da-da. So I was that chap. I've always been interested in it. And when I left full-time employment, I was doing business writing for people, including rewriting for people. So they'd say, look at these awards entries. They can't even do a sentence, these people. You tidy these up for me. And one of my friends said, instead of my people writing it and then you tidying it up and sending it back, why don't you just come and teach my people how to do it? I said, oh, okay, I'll have a go at that then.
Right, so, and the rest is history. Yes.
And the rest is history. So I've been doing it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fun.
I imagine writing radio ads, that's a wonderful test of English. You've got to be so many things, concise,
very
punchy,
true.
Engaging.
Very true.
You've got to stand out, haven't you?
Yeah.
Gosh, can that be taught, or is that largely something you've either got or you haven't?
That's interesting, because with radio, of course, you're writing, well, they call it the blind medium, don't they?
Yeah,
because all you've got is the words. You're saying whatever you're saying in your head. And you have to learn that as a kind of, it's almost a language, radio, isn't it? Because it's this blind medium. I mean, you can teach it a bit, I think, but actually advertising agencies, in my experience, they tend to recruit people who are very good in visual things. And you give them radio, and they write radio ads that sound like all the other radio ads, which frankly don't sound all that good.
Final thought, what difference do you think it would make to business and commerce overall if everybody communicated in writing to their full ability? Is that even remotely quantifiable?
I don't know if you quantify it, but I think it's about efficiency. They sort of measure business efficiency, don't they?
Yeah.
And, every time someone looks at a big long email from someone else and thinking, oh God, I've got all day to read this, and it takes them 10 minutes where it could have taken them 2. I suppose if people were doing it better, you'd see a 10% improvement in efficiency, wouldn't you? Just because the wheels will be turning quicker, there would be more sweetness and light around, and less people bashing their head against the desk saying, what does this bloke want?
Yeah, or indeed fewer people, Andrew, doing that.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Very good, very good.
Great to talk to you. Thank you so much. Very interesting. Andrew Ingram, whose company is Better Business Writing. Travel and weather on the way, and some sport after Harry Nielsen here on BBC Radio Berkshire.
Everybody's talking at me. I don't hear words they say.